See, coming to the user effect, see guys, we are explaining how to make the use state, how to work with the user effect and all. These are all the concepts we use in what project. The project will start on Monday. Monday will start what project part two. Before that, you finish that exam, one exam. Use effect hookers. Coming to use effect hookers, use effect hook is used to write the logic simply. Use it to write what logic. Use effect hook is used to write the logic. Is like use effect hook. Coming to the use effect hook, guys, you can go for the use effect hook. The purpose of use effect hook, like use effect, you write the logic. You write what? Logic writing. Arrow function, just like arrow functions. Write the use effect hook. Use effect hook is used to write the logic. That logic is executed automatically when the component is re-entered. The component is re-entering, right? Like you click on the counter increment. Component is what re-entering. Every time component re-entered, use effect logic execute automatically. If you want to execute some logic, then the component is what? Re-entered. Component is what? Re-entered. Very important, guys, because in the real time, we need to calculate that, how many times you open the YouTube. How many times you open what? YouTube. When you open the YouTube, component is re-rendered, your count is increased and recording the time also. So that we can say that HR will call you saying that Vamsi, 10 times you open the YouTube, these are times. Next time if you repeat, you will find. They will not talk much more. They'll say this simply, we will find. It means what every time they need to record. When the component is reloading, like nothing but what? Re-rendering. Re-rendering is what? State changes. Counter is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Component is what every time? Re-rendering. Every re-rendering time, I want to execute some piece of logic. What logic? Tracking your record, tracking your time. Then you can go for what hook come up? User effect. User effect hook executed, use it to write the logic. That logic is executed what? Always when the component is what? Re-rendered. Component is what is re-rendered. Guys, to do that, let me go for one small, this is called employee card and function app. This is called app.jsx. In app.jsx, directly I'm writing the code simply here. Just you can check the code and go for the user effect logic there. This is called user effect logic. You write the user effect logic inside the component like this. So user effect logic is there. What logic mark? Use effect. In use effect is expecting the logic like arrow function. Arrow function I'm writing the logic. See guys, this is called a parenthesis like arrow. Before arrow is what? Arguments. After arrow is what? Logic. What the logic I written here? Welcome to Ratan Sir class or something like logic written. Guys, to check this output, you maintain some likes and dislike example. You know that yeah. This is called use effect. So see, this is called use effect testing. And you can run this code guys here. How to run the project here? npm. No, npm run and what? There. npm run there. So we can click on one enter. You can see the output here. First time read enter. First time was what? Read enter. Go for the inspect and go for what? Console. If you go for the console, guys, here, and you clear the console, guys, here. Okay, use effect is, see, sometimes you got message like, what the message is. Use effect is defined, not defined. Not defined is not important. When you got the message like not defined means you can check it, not important. Is that use effect is important or not important? Not important, right? Good. As you remove the two characters, control space enter, then use effect is what? Important. Once if it is important, then come to the file guys, you can clear the console, click on the refresh. See guys, we got the message first time we're entering, Pratham's welcome to Pratham's art class. First time we're entering. You can click on the refresh one more time, second time we're entering, third time we're entering, fourth time. You do one thing. Let me take one variable for the counter increment. Tell me guys, how to take the variable for the counter increment? Just you can take the count and set count equal to use state of, use state of, you can write the zero user value. And you write one small button, count equal to, you write the h1 tag, count equal to, tell me guys, count equal to what? So you can write the count. You write one button like, button, you can say what? Increment. When you click on the increment button, what event is triggered on click event is triggered, directly write the logic here. But the logic using another function set count equal to then coming count plus 1. The same line I'm writing the logic, right? That's it. As now you can run this code here, you come to the file, we click on the refresh, you remove this all the code. Wait, console clears here. Clear the console. And you click on what button here? Increment. Now see first time, if you refresh first time there, first time component is loaded. First time run executed. Right? First time render right. First time data displayed for that step. You click on the increment button, guys, counter increased. Counter increase means what? Component is re-rendered. Every update component is re-rendered. Every update is what? Component is. You click on this increment. Now see. Welcome brother sir plus one more time execute, not execute. Execute. It means what? Every time the component is re-rendered, the logic execute automatically. Every time when you open the YouTube, it is recorded automatically. Click on one more time, click on one more time. See, you got the message 3, right? It means in the console, instead of printing 10 times, is giving the same message means number incremented. The console, rather than 10 times means what? Rather than 10 times not printed. 10 no rather than printed. It's printing what? 10 rather, right? See, the only times rate printed here, 3 times. You click on one more time, 4 times, fifth time. It means what? Every time the component is re-rendered, what logic executing? Use effect logic. What logic ma? Use effect logic. But that is one thing first. Option one. If you want to execute some piece of code every time when the component is what? Re-rendered, go for the use effect. Go for what? Use effect. Hey, no sir, but I don't want to run every time. Only first time component is loaded, that time I want to execute the logic. See, every time you write the code like this. But you want every time with the component loading time only component loading time. Component loading at first time, right? First time you want to write the logic. If you want to execute some logic, that should be executed only first time, right? How many times? First time. A first time rendering is you can put the empty array, dependency array. Now user effect is taking how many arguments? Two arguments. First argument is what? The last safeguard. Second argument is what? The dependency array. I given what the dependency here? Empty. Empty means this use effect logic executed only when the component is what? Loaded first. So ఒక్కసారి use effect logic execute. Use effect logic execute what? How many times? Only once. As you click on the refresh, check the console only one time. First time loading now, welcome to XSR class executing. Use effect logic executing. So you component re-rendered, component re-rendered, component re-rendered, component re-rendered. You click check the console, data printing or printing now. Yeah. That's the second option. Option number 2. Option 1 is what? Every time you want to execute the code and the component is what? Re-rendered. Every time you want to execute the code means what? You directly write the, every time means what? With the dependency, only loss you come. Only loss it. But you want to execute every time only when the component is loaded first time. When the component is loaded what? First time. Then you can go for the second argument. What is second argument here? Empty array. But anybody is empty array, right? Exactly. Then third one you can check it here. Third option. Only 3 possibilities. That's all. User effect is finished. See here, this one is I written the likes and dislikes. Likes and what? Dislikes. You know that like logic and dislike logic. like button, like dislike button, the corresponding counters you can write it. This is called use effect logic editor. Now you see that the likes and what are dislikes. Likes and what dislikes. See here the likes and the dislikes we have. That's fine. Let's come to the file here. We can click and close this one here. We got the likes button and what dislike button. Okay, this is likes. Click on the likes increased, dislikes increased. Like that we have the code like this. Right click on what inspect and you can check the console. In the console you can clear the console guys. You refresh the browser once. Yeah, first time component loading time execute. You likes increased, no problem. Dislikes increased, no problem. Anything is increased, anything is printed in the console here, no. Because you given, you given what array? Empty array. Given empty array means what happened? Empty array means what happened? How many times? Only once. Only once when the component is what? Huh. When the component is loaded. First time component is what? Loaded, right? Hey, if you remove this, then what happened? Then how many times? How many times the component is got to re-rendered, right? Just you can click on the refresh. See guys, I'm increasing the likes. You see the likes. Welcome to Ratan Sir classes printing. Even if you increase what dislikes, you check up to now six times printed. Click on the dislike. Even the dislikes means what happened here? The welcome to Ratan Sir classes increase direction. It means what? Component is re-rendered, but the likes are component re-rendered. Dislikes are component re-rendered. When the component is re-rendered, then what happened is the corresponding message printing, right? That is called what? We got use effect, right? Good. What? Likes and what? Dislikes. Likes and dislikes. Use likes and what? Dislikes. is what? Use effect. Use effect is what? Likes and dislikes. See, use effect, we have three possibilities. Possibility one, you write the use effect with the logic. Use effect is taking what? Logic. This logic is executed how many times? No? Every time when the component is re-rendered. Every time when the component is what? Re-rendered. If you put the empty brackets means what? Dependency array. What a dependency array here? Empty. Empty means what? The component is, re-rendered only once. Then the component loaded first time. Component loaded what? First time. But what is my requirement is, I don't want to execute the component, so use effect logic. I don't want to execute the use effect logic if we re-rendered. I don't want to execute the use effect logic only first time. The third possibility is like, I want to execute the use effect logic only when the likes are updated. Only what likes are updated. How many possibilities? Three possibilities. Every re-rendered option one. Only one time one, option two. Third one is what? Only specific dependency changes. Specific state changes. What state changes here? Like state changes. Only like state changes if you want to execute the logic, this dependency array can be the likes. If you didn't do the dependency array, empty dependency array means then what happened? Only once. Component loading first time. Execute already. But you given what amount likes. Then what happened here? This use effect logic executed. Then the likes are updated. When what? Likes are updated, right? Exactly. Guys, now you can come to the file, click on the refresh, clear the console. First time loaded. Now you please cross check once. I'm increasing the dislikes. Dislikes increasing means what? Console changing or not changing? Because that use effect logic executed only when likes are changing. Big what? When the likes are changed. Now you see, I'm going to click the likes now. If you click on the likes, now you see increasing, right? Yes or no? Likes means what? Increasing. If you go for the dislikes, increasing here. Changing or not changing? Not changing. How many possibilities you are seeing total here? Three possibilities. Possibility one is what? Possibility one is what? Possibility one is what? The use effect logic is executed every re-render. Every re-render. Every re-render means what? Dependency array required, not required, not required. If you write the empty dependency array, only once component time. If you write the dependency array with the likes, only when the likes are changed. Only what? When the likes are changed. You how many possibilities now? Three possibilities. Got it down? What are three possibilities? Sorry, possibility one. Use effect logic executed every time the component is what? Re-rendered. That time dependency array required, not required. Ignore the dependency. Second time is what? If you want to execute the use effect logic only once when the component is what? Loaded, then you can go for what? Empty array, empty dependency. Point 3. I want to execute the use effect logic only specific state changes. Specific state means what? Specific value changes. Specific value means what? You can go for likes or what? Dislikes. Now, when the use effect logic executed, when the dislikes are increased, dislikes are increased, right? Exactly. Just click on the refresh. Now you can check it. I'm going for the likes increment. You check that likes incremented, but also it will be coming up. No. When it will come here, dislikes. If you click on the dislikes, now you see the data increasing, right? Yes or no? If you click on the likes, any change? No. If you click on the dislikes, change. Got it done? That is the information, guys. That is what information. And that is called use effect logic. Use effect logic executed as a component is what about re-rendered. A point section. Finding use effect group. Use effect is take how many arguments now? Two arguments. One is the use effect is like the side effects in functional components. Use effect like real time what the code you will write means fetching the data from APIs. and start the timers. Start the timer. Start the timer what? We should start automatically when the component loaded, right? Start the timer. Get the user location. Get the user locations and count the page itself. If you're visiting the web page, how many times you need to count it? See guys, use effect, side effects means the side effect logic means something other than what? Written in JSX. Here we need to understand one point inside the return statement you write some logic, no? You want to display the data in the browser. To display the data in the browser, where we will write that? To display the data in the browser, where we will write the code? Return statement or ask. Return statement contains what? JSX code. JSX code is what? HTML plus JavaScript. But use effect, what code we should write means side effect logics in the functional component. Side effect logics means doing something other than the JSX code. Timer we need to start. You cannot write the code in what return statement, right? We need to count the page visits. We should not write the code in what return statement. Do we got it? Counting the number of page visits, getting the user locations. Right? We need to track the location, right? We need when the website is open, they will track your location. Where is your location, right? How they will be able to write the code? They cannot write the code inside the written JSX code, right? They should not write the code in what? JSX, like return statement, you will not write the code. Where you write the code, user effect. User effect is adding the side effects. Side effects means in a sense other than the return statement. See, whatever the code you are writing inside the return statement that is displayed in the browser. Displayed on what? Browser. That is a general data we are doing. But I need to track your location. To track your location, I need to write the code. Can I write inside the JSX code? That kind of side effect logic. We can write in what? User effect. I need to fetch the data from the API. See, we have the REST APIs in real time. For REST APIs, I need to get the data. I cannot write the code in what? JSX code. Find the location. Start the timer. When website started, start the timer. How to start the timer? You should write some logic. Where you should write the logic? Use the use effect. Use effect is used to write the side effects. Side effects means what? Other than the return statement. Other than what statement? Return statement are list to tables, buttons, ఇవన్నీ return statement లో ఉంటాయి. Side effects means what? Other than return statement. Side effects logic means doing something. Yes, we can say use effect is used to write the logic, side effect logics, and the logic is what? Executed every time the component is re-rendered, or first re-rendered, or specific state changes. Three possible to check. Generally, we use the use effect to fetch the data from the APIs, to start the timers, to get the user locations, and to get what page views. This is a very important how to start the interview. Got it right? But is the side effect class means what? Side effect class means what? Doing something other than what? Return statement. Other than what? Return statement. Those kind of data you can write what? Use effect, right? Very important. It's mandatory question, yes. Use state hook mandatory question. Use effect hook mandatory question. React fragment mandatory question. Virtual DOMs mandatory question. How many virtual DOMs are in the React? How many virtual DOMs in the React? 2. Why 2? Old updates and new updates. What the diffing will do? Diffing will compare the old updates and the new updates. Identify the changes. Identifying the changes, sending the changes to the real time is called what? Hey, after writing the quizzes, you got some idea, right? What the process is going on. No idea now. So sentence, terminology can get the clarity, right? Reconciliation, diffing, and scaffolding. What holding? No? Scaffold. What is scaffolding? Generating the files and what folders. Scaffold. Use effect is taking how many arguments? First argument is the logic. Second argument is the dependency array. Hey, when the one question important, experience will be asked the question like that. When the component is re-rendered, when the component is re-rendered, when the component is what? Loading is first time, but I'm asking loading a component re-rendered. When the component is re-rendered, question not done. The question when the component is what? Re-rendered. When the component is re-rendered, component loading is first time loading time. That's okay, fine. I'm asking what? Loading time or component re-rendering? When the component is re-rendered. How many? నీకు when the component is re-rendered, the component re-rendered means what? UI updated. It means what? Counter increasing the sum. Yes or no? Okay, don't feel. Hey, when the component is what? When the component is re-rendered means the component is re-rendered, UI changes. UI changes means you don't tell the UI changes. UI changes means what? Count increase, right? Count increase means what? State changes, right? Yes or no? When the component is re-rendered means when the state changes. When the component re-rendered means what? When the state changes means what? Lights increasing, right? Very nice. Good. When the state is what? Changes. And one more time, yesterday class we discussed props. Prop means what? Passing the data from one component to when I'm sending the data to another component, that time also what happened here? The props are changing, right? The props are changing means what? State changes. It means what? The component is re-rendered two cases. When the props are changed, when the state is changes. Props are what? State. Props means what? Input. When the input it changes, component re-rendered. When the state it changes, component re-rendered. Wait, how many times the component re-rendered? The component is re-rendered. Then the state of what? Props changes. The component is what? Re-rendered. Component is what? Re-rendered. When state or what? Props changes. State means what? Use state book changes, the value changes. Second is props. Props means what? Passing input from one component to what? Another component. That case also what? When the component is re-rendered, when the state changes or when the props changes. Props means what? Input. State means what? Value. Last one, sorry. See, ఈ లాజిక్ మొత్తం కావాలి you can understand the logic. Just you can have this code. Likes, dislikes, buttons ఇవన్నీ కావాలా? Only this is enough. That is enough, right? Then you can have the remaining code. So concept, the example for filters from likes, dislikes. But case one is what? With dependency area, no dependency. No dependency. No dependency is what? The use effect logic runs on every reactor. If you omit the dependency array, omit means what? Remove the dependency array. Omit as what? Remove the dependency array. That's the case one. If the component is read 20 times, the use effect runs 20 times. Case 1, case 2, and what? Case 3 complete, no? Hey, stop the video. Well, this example is important. Try to focus and try to open the brain better. You right click and write the new file. The file name is like timer.jsx file and write on it. What the file name? Timer.jsx. Okay, fine. Timer.jsx file I'm writing like this. AI function component export. This is called timer like this. See guys, when the component loaded the first time. When the component loaded first time. This timer has to display the time, guys. Timer has to display the time is what? Just time making the time equal to now present time, something like that. Present. Yeah, simply can have timer. Just you can maintain a one time variable to maintain the time. To maintain the time variable means what variable is required among state variable. Time equal to tell me where set the time, set the method view, right? Then you can write what? Use state, use what? Use state. And use state you maintain the initial value is what? Zero. Timer starts from zero. So I decided to I maintain one timer. The timer means what variable I maintain the time variable. Then timer equal what to 0, 1, 2, 4, 3, like the timer is printed, right? Timer is one printed. But see guys, what is my requirement is that I need to start the timer. So initially now if I run this code, go for the app.jsx, here you can go for what? Timer and you make it as a self-closing fine. That is called timer. You check the console once, not console here, you can directly check the file. So here's refresh. Timer is 0. Just a static message printing, right? Because timer contains any data, no data, no data. One use state variable, just printing the use state variable like timer equal to what? 0. Now you please tell me when the component loading first time, when the component is what? Loading first time, timer should start. Timer should start. Tell me how to start the timer. First, when the component loaded first time, then first time component loading time is definitely what? Side effect logic. What is side effect logic coming here? User, right? User effect, how many arguments have? Two arguments. But you want to execute the logic, but if we read another time, only first time is what we should write empty array. What we should write empty array. Empty array means how many times? Only once, right? Only once when the component is what? Loaded first. Component loading time, what I should do? I need to start the timer. Timer starts here. Then tell me how to start the timer. How to start the timer. See guys, I told like timer means what, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, like that. It should keep on executing with how many seconds gap? 1 second gap. That's what I told in the JavaScript one function, guys. Set interval. What function one? Set interval. Set interval is taking the two arguments. One is the logic, one is the set interval purpose is what, to execute the logic with the specified interval time. What interval time I given here? 1000 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds equal to how many seconds? 1 second. Then you write the logic. What the logic tell me here? Then the set interval in use effect. Okay, this is use effect logic. Use effect logic I given what array? Dependency array is empty. It means this use effect logic execute how many times? One time. When the component is what? Loaded. When the component loading, I am starting the timer. Set interval function. What the set interval function will do? This logic should be executed. What does set interval do? Set interval is very powerful in real time. That logic should execute what? Keep on with how many seconds we have here? 1 second gap. Because I get 1000 milliseconds actually. 1000 milliseconds equal to how many seconds? 1 second. Then here you can set the time. Set the time equal to what? Time plus 1. Then what happens? Set interval, keep on executing. Then keep on what happens? Time becomes the 0. Next becomes what? 1, 2, 3. It's keep on executing. So in the use effect logic, I written what? Set interval. Set interval means what? This logic should execute, keep on what? With how many seconds gap? 1 second gap. How many seconds gap? 1 second gap. That's it. So we can run this code here. You can refresh. You can what? Refresh. Right click on what? Inspect. Check the console once. Clear the console. Just you can click on refresh. So you are saying that in create is a not a function. Where is the create man? Where is the create? Use state is there. App.jsx. ఎక్కడ టైమర్లోనా timer.jsx. Timer time equal to set time. See guys, it's better to write the logic like this is called what? Time should be incremented. See guys, when we have to increment the data guys, you better to write the this kind of issues you will get. Even counter also. Even what? ముందు వాటి అనుకో అబ్బాల దగ్గరికి ఓకే పడ్డా ఓకే ఇక్కడ రోజు జాగ్రత్త అది చెప్పాలి కదా మరి use effect empty array. How many times execute? One time. Component loading. Set interval what? Start a type. Set interval means what? The logic keep on executing. What logic? Timer incremented. Timer incremental logic one time executed, keep on executing. Keep on executing with how many seconds? 1 second. Set interval what? Set interval logic is executed keep on. It means timer keep on increasing, right? That's what set interval should execute what? Keep on with how many seconds gap? 1 second. When you write the timer, guys, always you write the better, right? Time arrow, time plus 1 you write. Even count also when you increment, count plus 1 directly written, right? Why count plus what? 1. Better option is like, count error, count plus 1. Nothing but what? Previous count error, previous count plus 1. So no. Yes, we can write this time plus 1, but the timer is keep on increasing, right? That's what is not allowing here. Go for what? Time arrow, time plus 1. Time arrow what? Time plus 1. Then you can come to the file, click on the refresh. You can what? Refresh. It's saying that timer can help the order one with the customers at the one like dev boundaries. Timer component timer timer function set a time set a time use effect there's a problem. Okay, fine. Please keep the time plus 1 as per your logic. Actually, this is the first argument is what? Use effect is taking how many arguments? 2. One is what? Logic. Logic should be writing using what function? Arrow. A use effect logic, you write what logic? Set interval logic. This is a use effect logic. Use effect logic, what logic we should write? Set interval logic. Now we can check the output. So yes, you can click on this one. Okay, fine. Yeah, refresh 0, 1. That's what it is stopped. Then you can go for what? Time arrow. Time arrow what? Previous time equal to previous time plus 1. Now we can check the output. Click on the refresh. See guys, 1, 2, 3. Timer keep on increasing. Plus 2 additions. Okay, 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10. Yeah. It becomes what? Double. But if you write a time plus 1, then you can click on the refresh. Agar I got it. But if you write the time arrow, time plus 1, then we got the output is how much more? Time 2 times what? Increasing, right? 2 becomes 4, 6, 8, like that. I noticed what the problem here. Just you can go for the stop the server once. I'm going to run the project like npm run dev. npm run dev. Then you can go for the data here. Start a timer. 2, 4 and what? 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. The data is coming like this. The data is what? Go for the app.jsx. This is implementing what? Timer. Go for the timer. Yeah, that is going for what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, like that. If the timer is keep on running, guys, go for the timer.jsx, physical timer.jsx. That is the data we should write. That is what? Data. That is what? Data. Wait, this one is clear. One time or 2 times keep aside because you should write another logic here. But second level executing what? Keep on this logic executing, right? Keep on this logic executing from, how many seconds gap? 1 second gap. How many seconds gap? 1 second gap. See guys, when the component loading time, when the component is what? Loading time. Yeah, when the component loading time, what happened here? This component loading time, what logic executed? Component loading time, user effect logic executed, right? Component what? Loading time. Why it is executing the, 2 times means the component should be unloaded. Component should be unloaded. Component loading time, timer started. Component unloading time, timer should stop. Timer should stop. You are the component, timer component. I am the main component, app.jsx. I am including the timer component. Then what happens when your component is loaded? Then what happens here? Timer keep on increasing. Timer keep on what? Increasing. I stopped. I unloaded your timer. I unloaded what? Your timer. If I unload your timer means what? You should stop the timer, right? By set interval, the problem is like, it will keep on executing, keep on what? Executing infinite times until you stop it. Until what? You stop it. Set interval, how many times executing? It's executing infinite times until you stop. But are you stopping or not stopping now? That's what guys. It's like rerun multiple times. That's what two times or sometimes three times also you get the output. But the problem is set interval will start the timer. The set interval execute this logic increasing the time. Execute this logic. It how many seconds gap to 1 second gap. Let's keep on executing. And execute all the time. That is what keep on executing. Did you stop them? Not stop them. Not stop them. Sometimes you get the 3, 6 also, 9 also. Even the component is stopped. Component is what? Stop. Component is what I want? Stop. Component loading time you start a timer. The timer should stop. The timer should what? Stop. How to stop the timer? How to stop the a set interval keep on executing this logic with how many seconds gap? 1 second gap. That logic can be executed or keep on executing. When that logic execution will stop, we should stop the interval. We should do what? Stop the interval. How to stop the interval? You should write the clear interval. You should write what clear interval. You should write what interval? Clear. When we should clear? When we should clear? Component loading time you started. What you started, the set interval started. Set interval means what the logic keep on executing. Set interval started. When the component is what? Loading time. When we should stop that interval? When the component is unloading time. Component is what? Unloading time. But component loading time started. Component unloading time stopped. Component unloading time what? Stop. Yeah. See, there is use effect logic executed at the component loading time. Component loading time, what logic executed? Use effect logic executed. That is okay, fine. I must start a set interval execution started. But what I asked the question, we need to stop the time. Set interval logic. We should what? Stop the set interval logic when unloading time. Now we have a new requirement. Loading time we want to start the interval. Unloading time we need to stop the interval. Then we have the question like where we should write the logic. Where we should write what? Logic. We should execute some logic, right? What logic? Stop interval. When the stop interval should execute? When the stop interval should execute? Unloading time. But this logic execute what time? Loading time. Now unloading time, what logic we executed? Like inside the use effect case, you write return statement. Right? What statement? Return statement. Return statement you write arrow function logic. And the set interval you can take the let what? Interval ID. You can take what? Interval ID. The set interval ID that's called. Then this logic executed on the component loading time. And return statement you are writing the logic, right? Return statement is what? This is called return statement. The return statement, what you should write about? What you should call clean interval. What you should write clear interval. What interval we have to clear? Interval ID is there, no? That interval ID you can give it. Very powerful interval. Use effect logic executed when the component loading time. Then he will ask the question like, hey, when the component unloading time, I want to write some logic. When the component want unloading time, write some logic. When the component unloading time, we need to stop the clear the interval. When the component unloading time, what logic executed? Then the component loading time, what logic executed? Use effect logic. Component unloading time, what logic executed means use effect return statement executed. Use effect what? Return statement executed. So got it up? Good. And now you come to the file here, click on the refresh. Now you see guys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clearly obstacle. Previous what the problem? We didn't stop the timer. You stopped or not stopped the stop checking the timer. Because you started interval. Background of the interval keep on running. Again, you start the application second time. Then what happened? That interval, this interval, both are coming what? Two times. Now you see the timer is coming properly, right? Then what's the point here? When you component loading time is what? User effect logic execute and the component what? Loading time. Loading time, set interval started. Unloading time, clear that interval. Clear that what? Then loading time is started, unloading time is executed, then everything is set up properly. Again restarted, again start from 1, 2, 3, 4 onwards. So if you remove this one here, restarted. Again, 1, 2, properly data will come. Because you closed interval. You didn't close interval, then what happened? The set interval is kept on running until what? Infinite times. Why set interval should be stopped when you call the clear interval. So we clear interval right on go. You didn't write the clear interval, then what happened? If you didn't write the clear interval, set interval what? Keep on running. Then what? We'll get the mismatches outputs. Now you see, I commented this one. You can come to the file, click on the refresh. Now see, you're going for what? Background previous time was not started. Previous time now stopped, not stopped, not stopped. That time are running, new time are coming, expected, unexpected results of that. That's what? Dependency array means empty dependency array. Empty dependency array means what? This logic execute only component starting time. Component what? Starting. Component loading time. Some people are saying component loading, some people are saying component mounting. Component loading or what? Component mounted. Component mounted. It's very important. You got to point that. Component loading time, if you want to write the logic or use effect. Use effect, component loading time, timer started using set interval function. Set interval, the keep on logic executing. But component unloading time, what we should do? Component unloading time, what we should do? We should stop the set interval process, right? Set interval, we started some interval now, that should be stopped. That should be stopped using what? Clear interval. If it didn't stop, background it is running. Background it is running until you call what? Clear interval. So set interval logic execute how many times? Set interval logic execute how many times? Infinite times until you stop. How to stop it? Clear interval. When you should start? When the component loading. Component loading time you want to start means what? Go for the component loading time is you start right. Component loading time to start means what we should use? Set interval. Component unloading time. The component loading time లో ఈ రాజకి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయిపోయాను కాంపోనెంట్ అన్లోడింగ్ టైంలో రిటర్న్ స్టేట్మెంట్ అప్పుడు పద్ధతిగా కాంపోనెంట్ స్టార్ట్ అయినప్పుడు టైమర్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది కాంపోనెంట్ ఆగిపోయినప్పుడు టైమర్ ఆగిపోవాలి నువ్వు మీరు ఆగలేదు అనుకో అదేమైంది అది రన్ అవుతానే ఉంటుంది దట్ విల్ రన్ ఇన్ఫైనైట్ టైమ్స్ అంటిల్ యూ స్టాప్ ఇట్ దట్స్ వాట్ అన్ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్ రిజల్ట్స్ అందుకని వేర్ ఎవర్ ద టైమర్ ఈస్ స్టార్టెడ్ సెట్ ఇంటర్వెల్ you must what? Stop it. You must stop it what? When you clear interval. Using interval edit. This is very important. Got it? If you want to execute some piece of code in the component unloading time, where you should write the code? Component unloading time. You see guys, you uncomment this return statement, you can come to the file, click on the refresh. Now you see, you get the 1, 2, 3 proper output. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. Very done. Very powerful. The written statement of what? Clear interval. A use effect logic, that logic is what? I started set interval. Set interval is doing what? Time equal to time plus 1. How many? This logic executed, this logic is what? Executed, keep on. The logic is executed over the keep on. Until stop the timer. When the timer should stop? The component is what? Unloading. Component loading time started means component unloading time what should stop, right? Should watermark stop. Where is the data? Where is the timer function? Let's take an example. is the purpose of the return statement in use effect workflow? What the purpose of use effect return statement? What the purpose of return statement use effect workflow? The return statement logics, the return statement logics executed. The return statement logic executed when the component is what? Set interval purpose is what? What the purpose of set interval and clear interval? Set interval logic is what? Keep on executing. So based on this, you write one logic like yeah. Can you come the refresh? Smart use state is not defined. So for the timer, use effect also not defined. Yeah. So you guys, you write this example. You start the time, previously I started timer in what? 0 onwards. Now here the timer started what? 60 onwards. So no. When you should clear the interval, when it becomes a 0. Start the exam for the set interval, you start with what? 60 seconds. When you should stop? 0. It means what? Return statement should execute when the counter timer becomes what? 0. After 0 means what? Clear the interval. Clear the interval. Then timer is stopped. Right? Timer is what? Stop. Return statement is very powerful because return statement logic execute when the component is what? Unloaded. Then here the exam timer should be stopped, right? The return statement should execute. When the return statement should execute? When the count will be like 0, you clear it. You clear it means for return statement ready. Times of exam submitted. Times upon what? Exam submitted. Again starting, again timer started from what? 1 minute. Exam timer times left. That's okay. Exam में रहा है. I started from 0 to incrementing. You start from what? 60 to decrementing. When it becomes what? 0, then you get the message is what? Timer left. Got it? I'll submit it. Only should remember the two things. One is what? Set interval and the clear interval. Set interval will start the timer. Clear interval will stop the timer. That's it. Set interval is to execute the function repeatedly. The fixed time gap. It expecting how many arguments? 2 arguments. Set interval is what? 2 arguments. First argument is what? Function. Function means what? The logic. First argument is what? Logic. First argument you can make it as a logic. Second argument is what? Time in what? Millisecond. Time gap. Time gap in what? Millisecond. Is the time gap. And the clear interval is what? It is used to yeah. The set interval executed like the set interval logics will be executed until what? You stop until you stop using water. Clear? And the clear interval is used to what? To stop the repeat execution started by set interval start చేసింది ఎవరు స్టాప్ చేస్తారు clear interval. Without clear interval, what happened here? Without clear interval, what happens? The interval keep running forever. Then you got it 2 times, 4 times, like that. Very good. You take this pic right after class.